Bro, and now come back. No, come back. Why you got on Argentina, bro?
English, no.
Konnichiwa? Konnichiwa?
No, Chinese.
Konnichiwa, Argentina.
Chinese, no konnichiwa.
Boing, boing, boing.
So dreamers, that is the clip that is getting IShowSpeed in a lot of controversy today. So essentially, the real argument is, does IShowSpeed continue to get these passes when he's either racist or insensitive or does something completely stupid, completely scammy because he's young, because he's a kid? Another argument that other people are making is, does Speed keep getting these passes because he's black? And that's a wider conversation that we'll talk about earlier. So as you saw in that clip just now, Speed met up with an Argentina fan. And as you know, Speed is a huge fan of Ronaldo. He does the sui, he does that whole thing. He has the whole Ronaldo fit. And he went to the World Cup in Qatar to meet, hopefully, Ronaldo. Didn't happen, but Speed was caught interacting with this Asian fan who he first assumed was Japanese for some reason with the konnichiwa, but then he also was called out for continuing to make racist comments and having a racist interaction with this individual. In my personal opinion, does he get a pass because he's a kid? Kind of. I mean, he's known for doing a lot of this, just out of proportion and making sure that his content is as controversial as possible. And that's a huge part of why Speed has blown up in the way he does. I mean, if we remember where Speed is coming from, we remember him dropping down and like twerking and saying that that's completely normal. And he even would utilize, gay type behaviors to amp up his content to make sure that everybody's watching, everybody's staying tuned. And a lot of people had a adverse reaction to that as well. People thought that he's utilizing not only gay culture, but he's also just utilizing the fact that he's a kid as an excuse as to why he can do stuff like that. And people don't like it. In my personal opinion, I think Speed is hilarious. I do think that a lot of the stuff that he does is insensitive, and he does it because he's a content creator. And if we look at the history of YouTube, content creators have been doing a lot of crazy stuff for views, and that's how Speed got his views. He was loud. He did stuff that was right on the border of acceptable. And then he also collaborated with a lot of huge names to get to the point that he's at now. Now, does this make it acceptable because he's black? That's a different conversation. I'm gonna play another clip now of when Speed was up in Qatar again, and he had a little interaction with an Indian gentleman.
Where you from? Hey, where you from? Where you from? Huh? No English? Allah? Wallahi? He's Indian? Oh, you know that song? Hello.
So as you can see from that clip, Speed is seen making fun of the guy because he knows he's Indian, playing the traditional song. And if you're a fan of like people like the Sidemen and stuff, you'll know that back in like 2010s, before people started being officially canceled, people used to play this song for Indian people all the time. Was there backlash because of it? Absolutely. Is it racist? Potentially. I think that there's a heavy argument to be said that it is very, very disrespectful and borderline racist for you to cite that song whenever you're around an Indian person, because it's all you can think of when you think of India. However, I will say, again, that Speed kind of does get a pass here because he's black. And that's not me saying he should. I'm just saying that's what's happening. In both of the clips that we've viewed so far, we've gotten to see that Speed doesn't even think about these things when he's talking. And that's more than likely because he's from a minority culture that is oppressed, I guess, and that is looked at as acceptable for you to act this way because you are also victims of things of like, being called the N-word or being called a monkey or whatever it may be. So I feel like people, and especially young people, do give Speed a huge pass because of the fact that he's not only black, but he's also very, very young. Is it acceptable? I don't think it's at the level that he's at is acceptable because I think that he has a very, very, very large young following, and they're gonna think that things like this are not only funny, which they are, but they're gonna think that they're acceptable, and they might practice these things in their own personal lives where they might end up getting punched in the face, they might end up getting jumped. You never know what could happen. But the overall topic of conversation is that this is not acceptable, and that Speed thinks it's acceptable because he's young and because he's black, so he gets away with stuff like this. As a fellow black, relatively young content creator, my advice for Speed, not that I'm in any position to give him advice. I mean, he's way more successful than I am, and he's younger than me, so that's a lot to say about that. But I think that for Speed, you should take a little bit of time just to chill out again. I know that, you know, when he had his initial backlash from when he was, I believe, in like 2019 and like 2020 and 2021. It's like every year he has something that people are calling him out for. But whenever he has these moments of being called out, Speed tends to take a step back and let things sort of boil down. I think after the World Cup, that's what he should do. You get back to making some videos with your dad, get back to just doing some, you know, casual Ronaldo content, and get back to doing content that isn't going to get you put into the YouTube news or the, you know, the worldwide news, and just make it die down a little bit again. I think that he's getting a lot of passes, man. Speed is only getting bigger and bigger. His content is being enjoyed by many young people all around the world who identify with him as, you know, just being a troll and being able to talk about these sensitive topics and make fun of these things without having to worry about what everybody else is going to say about him. And I think it comes at a time where being canceled is, you know, starting to be frowned upon, and being told what you can and cannot say is being frowned upon. So he actually has the advantage, I believe, in this situation where he can, you know, say things like, oh, you know, I love Indian people, and I love India. Here's another clip that I'm actually going to play from when Speed ran into a fan of his who was actually Indian, and here's what he did.
They're both from India. Oh, India. Yes. Hardiki. Oh, yeah. The game tonight. Dub India's. I love India. I'm from Portugal, my man. We're going for the game tonight. Huh? We're going for the game tonight. Yeah, I'm going too. Yeah? No, first row seats. Not I'm sitting right behind you. Oh, you are? Dub India, man. I love India, bro. He loves you. Y'all know that one song get... He knows here. He loves you. He do? You watch my videos? Y'all know that one India song? Aditi Uncle Doopy Doopy Titi Ta. Zoopy Doopy Gapata Chapati.
Again, we see in the clip, it's just a reference to the song again. It's a reference to the song that people play when they think of Indians, they think of India. Is it insensitive? I think it really depends. Obviously, in this clip, we see that the person is a huge fan of Speed's. We see that the person wanted a picture with him and everything. Does that make it acceptable that he can say things like this? Obviously not. If this was a political figure, then people would be down their throats. But I think that's just the point, is we know who Speed is. We know the type of content Speed makes. So when things like this happen, can we really be surprised anymore? I think we could have been surprised when he tried to endorse the crypto scam that he was engaged in with those other guys. But also, I think that's another perspective where it's like he's young and he doesn't necessarily know what it is that he's engaging in, although he might have. And, you know, I could be completely wrong here, but those things are very, very, very controversial. And because crypto is still relatively new, there's no way for us to know that Speed knew that that was a scam. And once his fans started to let him know in the comment section and in his chat, he definitely had to step aside and try to do some back dealings. But overall, I think Speed is still very, very young. I think he's like 18, 17, 18, 19, I don't even know how old he is, but he's very, very young. And he also is grown on YouTube. And I think when you see these people that literally grew up on YouTube and they got all of their fame and notoriety from YouTube or just from the internet in general, that's when you get to see that people don't really have a great touch with what it is that it means to be culturally sensitive or in touch with the regular everyday person. And I think that also has a lot to say about the regular everyday person. People need to stop being so damn sensitive. This isn't somebody that's going to be able to run for president or make executive decisions that are going to change your life or the country or whatever it may be. This is a social media content creator. And the more that you say, oh, he's racist and he's this and he's that, the more that you're giving him attention and the more that you're putting money in his pockets at the end of the day. And do I think that, you know, Speed shouldn't be making money and he shouldn't be being notarized for things like this? No. I think that if this is the content that is going to make him money, then he should make it. He's living his life at such a young age. He's already probably able to pay for his kids' lives and their kids' lives and even their kids' lives. So I think if this is what's gonna make you the money, make your money. At the end of the day, he's not outright coming and saying, I hate Indian people. He's not outright coming and saying, I hate Asians. He's just toting a line that people don't really like to be walked across. So if you agree with me, leave a like on the video, leave a comment in the comment section down below, and let me know what you think of my opinion on this matter. Let me know your opinion on this matter, and subscribe to the channel. Leave the bell notification on so that you can get my new videos on time when I put them out, and look out for the next one. Dreamers out.
Bismillah. Bismillah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Inshallah. Wallahi.
What else words I know?